We've all been there, right? You've just finished this massive deep dive analysis, you're proud of the work, and then you open up PowerPoint and just stare at that blank slide. You're thinking, how on earth do I turn all this data into a story that actually gets people to listen? Well, that's exactly what we're tackling today. How to build a powerful, persuasive presentation that doesn't just show data, but actually changes minds.
So, how are we going to do it? Here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about something I call the audience's handicap. It's the real reason most presentations fail. Then we'll move on to building your message pyramid to nail down your big idea. After that, we'll get our hands dirty with the art of storyboarding. And finally, we'll put it all together with slides that tell a story. Let's dive in.
All right, first things first. We need a major mindset shift. Before we even think about what we want to say, we have to put ourselves in the audience's shoes. You know, the single biggest mistake we make is forgetting that the people listening to us are at a huge disadvantage from the get-go.
Yeah, of course you have. We've all been there, right? Sitting in a dark room, checking your phone, just completely lost and wondering, what is the point of all this? Well, that feeling, it's a symptom of a much bigger problem. It's because the presenter fundamentally misunderstood what a presentation is supposed to do.
This slide really nails it. Think about it. When you're reading a report or a document, you are in complete control. You're the driver, you set the speed, you can reread a sentence, you can skip ahead. But in a presentation, you're just a passenger. The speed is set for you, you can't possibly absorb tons of information, and you have absolutely no control. You are totally at the mercy of the presenter.
So, how do we fix this? How do we overcome that handicap? Simple. We have to become an amazing guide for our audience. And that means being ruthless, cutting out everything that isn't absolutely essential. It means building a story that's so logical and so tightly structured that it's impossible for them to get lost. And it means using visuals to make our points crystal clear. This all starts with one thing: finding your core message. Look, you can't be focused, you can't have a clear structure if you don't even know what your main point is. That's where this idea of the message pyramid comes in. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful way to boil down all of your work into one single, powerful idea that everything else will be built on.
So here's what that looks like. At the very tip of the pyramid is your key message. That's the one thing, the single sentence you want your audience to walk away remembering. Holding up that point are the main pillars of your storyline. Think of these as the 3 or 4 big chapters of your presentation. And then, the whole base of the pyramid is made up of your arguments, all the individual slides with their charts and data that prove your points along the way.
This is the big one, okay? Before you even think about opening PowerPoint, before you make a single slide, you have to be able to state the entire purpose of your presentation in one single clear sentence. If you can't do that, you're not ready. It's that simple. This sentence is your North Star for everything that comes next. And that key message, it needs to have a job to do. What do you actually want from your audience? Are you just trying to inform them, just giving them the facts? Or are you trying to persuade them to adopt your point of view? Or are you trying to provoke action, to get them to approve a budget or start a new project? Knowing your objective is absolutely critical. All right, so you've got your key message. Awesome. Now comes the part where most people get stuck. How do you get from that messy mountain of analysis to a clean, compelling story? This is where we need to step away from the computer, grab some Post-it notes, and get physical with the art of storyboarding. Honestly, this is the most important step, and it's the one almost everyone skips. You have to get this next part. It's so important. The way you did your analysis, all the complicated steps and dead ends you explored to find the answer, that is not the story you tell. Your audience doesn't need to see all your work. They just need to understand your conclusion.
And this visual just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, that's your analysis. It's a messy, branching tree with all sorts of possibilities. It's complicated. But your presentation, on the right, well, it has to be a simple, straight line. You're the guide who's already explored the jungle, and now you're just showing them the clear, paved path from the introduction, through your arguments, straight to the conclusion.
And that's exactly what storyboarding does. It helps you build that path. You take each idea, each argument, and you put it on a Post-it note and stick it on a wall. Suddenly, you can see your story. You can move things around, find the gaps, and rearrange the whole flow until it just feels right. It forces you to think like your audience from the very beginning, and you do all this before you've wasted a single second messing with fonts and animations. Okay, so our storyboard is solid. The logic is tight. Now, and only now, are we allowed to open up our presentation software. But we have to remember, we're not just making slides. We are crafting each scene of our story, and every single slide has a very specific job to do.
Here's a great little test for you, the ultimate sniff test for a good presentation. If you just read the titles of your slides one after another, would they tell a complete, coherent story? If the answer is yes, you are in great shape. Every single slide title should be a full sentence that delivers that slide's main point.
So a really solid slide has, like, 4 key parts. First, you've got that action-oriented headline we just talked about. That's the key takeaway. Then you have the body, which is the visual proof, like your chart or your graph. You might want to add an emphasis box to really spell out the so what for your audience. And of course, you add a source to show them your data is legit.
Let's make this real. Take a look at this table. It's just a wall of numbers about the cost structure of different mills. I could slap a title on it like cost data, but what does it actually mean? What's the story here? You have to work really hard as an audience member to figure it out. This is just data without a story.
Okay, now watch this. Same data, but put into a simple bar chart. Boom! The story just jumps off the page. In less than a second, you see the recycling mill has the lowest cost. The story is instantly clear, and the visual does more work for you. You can see why its costs are lower by looking at the different colored bars. That's what a great visual does. It doesn't just show data, it reveals insight.
So, the next time you finish a big piece of work, I want you to stop and resist the urge to just start making slides. Instead, step back, look at everything you've discovered, and ask yourself the one question that really truly matters. What story will you tell?